evening. Ooh, a nice mug of golden ale, which my son Sam Wise Gamgee, if you didn't know who that is, I'm the old Gaffer, his father, and fast. Well, Sam brought me back some beer, nice golden ale. I think that's because he's trying to bribe me a bit, because he's off down that inn again with that young Mr. Frodo. He's always out with Mr. Frodo. Either that, or he's round Mr. Baggins's, Meatballs. Now I know he's a bit weird, but we don't have now to say bad about him. He gave me this waistcoat. You might have seen him wearing it before. This is his waistcoat. He gave it to me. But anyway, I've just put my pint in. Actually, you might know it's empty. I gave up. Bad for you. Try telling that to Sam and the other bloody kids. So I'm making dinner tonight. When he finally gets back from the old Green Dragon. So I'm going to make some meatballs. We're going to have meatballs with salad. So, what time is it? I better get cracking on. Like I said, I'm making meatballs with salad, chicken meatballs with salad. It's a bit fancy this, because I'm doing it. Okay, and I've had a bit of a bumper crop in the garden. That's my own garden, not Mr. Bilbo's. Mr. Baggins. Sorry, Mr. Baggins. I should call you Bilbo. It's Mr. Baggins. Not that he'd mind if I had any of his crops, but I've got plenty. So one of the things I had a bounty of is some chickpeas. So I'm gonna crispen them up. They're going to be an accompaniment, a bit like croutons. One of them foreign parts. It's a funny, dodgy thing they do with their bread. Can't be doing with them foreign things. Anyway, I've got my chickpeas, and I've given them a good rinse. And what I want to do now is dry them off. So, I'm just going to tip them on this bit of cloth, and then we just want to dry them off gently, and then we're going to put them in a bowl, and we're going to sort of coat them in some oil and herbs and spices. Not that I'm that keen on spices, because they're a bit foreign. If it comes from the Shire, it's alright. If it comes from foreign parts, well, who knows what it's going to be like. So, I'm going to put them chickpeas in there. And then, once I've done that, I'll tell you what I'm going to coat them with. Now, you want to put your oven on. The oven's on quite hot, 220. And I've got a tray here with a bit of paper on it. Baking paper, because we're going to crispen them in the oven. That's the only thing that's going in the oven. After that, you're going to need a pan to cook your meatballs in. So there's my chickpeas in my bowl, and what I've got here is a teaspoon ground cumin, one of them foreign fancy things. Mr. Bilbo brought it back from when Mr. Baggins brought it back from one of his foreign travels when he saw the elves. Now, I weren't going to try it. I thought, no, foreign things, don't touch them. You never know. But actually, I did try it, and it was good. Next thing I've got, teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I've got 2 teaspoons in here of salt, but I only got half of that in here. See, he says that before he ends up tipping the whole bloody lot in there. And I'm going to put that there before I use it up. And then I want a tablespoon of oil. Olive oil. Olives that's grown in the Shire. Believe that, believe anything. There you go. Now, if you wanted some more oil later, And that's what I'm going to use for the minute. Oh, I'll put that there, make a mess there. Oh, I poured this out for another beer. This one's got a bit more foam on it. I notice it's making the accent go. Someone will think I'm a foreigner. So, what we want to do is coat all them chickpeas in that mixture. And then I'm going to spread them out on that tray there, on the paper. And we're going to crisp them up in the oven. Now while it's in there, about 10-15 minutes, time is it? That better not be too much longer, although I've got to cook my meatballs yet, I've got to make my meatballs yet. He's a crafty lad, is my Sam. One of the reasons he's gone down there is because he's after that Rosie. She works down there. And actually, I'll tell you a little story about that. I've got a feeling he's got plans there. I found something that he didn't know he dropped. I've got to give it back to him. I might have to sneak it back, because otherwise he'll know that I know what he's planning. But you'll find out in a bit. So I think that's done like that. Give me that bowl. I'll need that bowl in a minute. So now I'm just going to spread this out on there. You might think chickpeas are a bit foreign. Growing it bag shop roll. That's where I live, just down behind Mr. Bilgo, the bag end. Right, so that's going in the oven, and like I say, it's going in for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to give it a good shake every now and again, every few minutes, so that it crispen up nicely. Who wants fancy bloody croutons? And you can have Shire grown crispy chickpeas. Right in here, as you can see, straight from the garden, some nice fresh mint. And what we're going to do is take them off them stalks and we're going to chop this up fine. I'll get my big kitchen knife out and we're going to chop this up fine, and we're going to want something live in the oven. We're going to want about 3/4 of a cup. Now, we haven't got no fangled things like electricity, so we can't have like a weighing machine. Not like that anyway. Oh, that beer's getting to me, your accent's going again. So we're measuring this in cups, and we want 3/4 of a cup of finely chopped mint leaves. Now, you're going to want some lit parsley, and again, I've got some fresh parsley straight out of the garden. I had to go and get it myself. That bloody Sam was too busy gallivanting with Mr. Frodo. Now, we've got a party coming up soon. Mr. Baggins is reaching a particularly good age, and he's celebrating, and it's also Mr. Frodo's birthday, although he's obviously a lot younger. Yeah, it's getting me on. Mr. Frodo's a lot younger, but they're having a joint party and they're getting ready for that. And that my crafty Sam is like, oh, me and Mr. Frodo have got to go planning it down the pub. Any excuse to go down that pub. Probably meeting them two dodgy bits. Mr. Took, Mr. Brandybook. Parsley. Like I say again, from my garden. Okay. Let's just chop the ends off of that. We don't want all them stalks in it, not that it really matters that much. Get a nice bit of flavour from the kitchen there. So, I was telling you that I think Sam has got plans for young Rosie, because There's been some funny business going on around here ever since Mr. Baggins. Now, there's some that, like, barely talk to him anymore. Although, strangely, they're all quite friendly now. They know there's a party coming. Especially since he sent out some of the invites. And some of those that wouldn't talk to him because he went off adventuring. Adventuring! I saw Bex don't like that sort of thing. You just get rid of me rubbish. You know, we don't like that sort of thing. And he went off adventuring. Right, just like the mint, I'm going to chop off my parsley nice and fine. Probably got a bit too much here. I want about the same amount as the mint. But anyway, he went off adventuring, and now good comes of it. Although having said that, them folk come back and said, "Oh, he come back with chests and chests of treasure, and they're all hidden in Bag End." Well, when he come past my house, I think he had one or two small little chests. I don't know where all the rest came from then, if that's what that really happened. Anyway, like I said, they're having this party. And that wizard's been around again, Mr. Gandalf. I'm not sure I take to him too much. Magic and things like that. Just not on. Stick to the Shire, can't go. Like I was saying, these foreign folk and, you know, these wizards and whatever, as I've said to my Sam boys, elves and dragons, cabbages and potatoes are better for me and for you. So just steer clear of everything else. So I'm going to take some of this nice Shire cheese. Comes from the Feta farm out the back, Bag End. And I'm crumbling this up. And I want about getting on for a cup. Just under a cup, but I'm going to use a cup. Because the block of cheese he gave me, well, he sold me, came to just over a cup, but never mind. So I'm just crumbling that in there, and then we're almost ready to start making our meatballs. Now my chickpeas, I just turned them, give them a bit of a turning, and they're going to be about another 5 minutes or so. Okay, and once they're done, we take them out and we don't have to worry about whether they get cold because they're just going to be nice and crunchy. Let's come on to making the meatballs. Actually, before I do, because I'm getting near the end of this beer and I'll have to go down the cellar and get another one. I was telling you, I think my Sam has got plans. Now, he'd been out and about Bag End, and like I told you, there's been some funny goings on. There's all this nonsense talk about people saying that Mr. Baggins vanishes. And anyway, my Sam, he can't help himself. I mean, I do say to him, whenever you open your big mouth, you put your foot in it, and he can't help himself. And he's obviously been sort of sniffing around a bit with Mr. Frodo and everything like that. And I think Mr. Bilbo might have given him something, because he's probably told Mr. Bilbo what his intentions are towards old Rosie. And he was out and about the other day and he dropped something. He didn't know he dropped it, and before I could tell him, it'd gone. So I found it was this little pouch. And this is why I think he's got plans. Because there's a nice golden ring there, which I think, well, I can only assume, because he ain't got the money to buy a bloody golden ring to get married with, I can only assume Mr. Bilbo was giving it to him, Mr. Baggins. And it's got all this fancy writing on it. Foreign stuff. So I'll have to sneak it back and make out he never lost it. Because, he won't be happy. But I think he's going to propose to her. Anyway, that aside, let's make our meatballs. Now, you're going to want some chicken. And I've got 500 grams, foreign measurement, I don't know what that means, of ground up chicken. Now you can take a chicken breast, or 2 or 3, and you can hack it to bits if you want. Or you can go to the butcher and get him to do it for you. We've got one up my waterway, Mr. Esco, Mr. T. Esco, and he kindly gave me some ground chicken. So I'm going to chuck that in there, and then we're going to add a variety of other fancy stuff and non-fancy stuff. There's that chicken in there, and then that remaining salt, chuck that in there, and now we're starting to get sort of fancy and a bit semi-fancy. So we've got oregano, that comes from Bang End, dried oregano, dried it out myself, that's in there. Some red pepper flakes, these are a bit exotic. I think Mr. Baggins got found that when he went off to see them elves. Well, them elves wouldn't eat these chicken meatballs. Them elves are vegetarian. Weird people. Weird! I would say weird pointy-eared people, but so are we hobbits, but we're not weird. We're down to earth and stable, we are. Well down to earth, we live in bloody holes. And then I've got some coriander, ground coriander, another one of them exotic spices. Right, what have we got next? Time for a beer ring. Me parsley. Which one is me parsley? Can't remember which one is me bloody parsley. Yeah. That one's me parsley, I think. So me parsley, putting all that in. But we're only putting half the mint in. And then I've got some breadcrumbs. Don't ever throw your bread out. Dry it out, crumble it up, make breadcrumbs. And I've got 40 grams. I know I should couldn't measure it out in grams, but there you go, it's 4 grams in there. And then some fancy yoghurt. I've got a tablespoon of yoghurt. Get off. I'll have to wash that up because I'll need that in a bit. And then that cheese, I want about 3/4 of that cheese in there. Hey, in here, not on the bloody floor. So the rest of that cheese and that mint we'll be using at the end. But what we now need to do is get this lot, get my hands in there, and get that. But I've got to get that cheese off the floor first. Because that bloody clumsy son of mine, he'll come in here and tread it everywhere. Get all over the bloody hobbit hole, he will. So I'm just going to massage all this together. Oh, my chickpeas. See, now this is a problem when people buy your newfangled gadgets. This thing's called timer behind me. I normally use my watch. But I put that thing on, I've got to turn the bloody thing on. So I've probably burnt my chickpeas now, haven't I? A better look at them. So, I've mixed up my meatball mix, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this scoop. It's about 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to use this to create the meatballs. Now, you might think this is fancy food for Hobbit, you're probably right. But I know Mr. Frodo's got used to some fancy stuff, being that he's like friend, well not friend, he's the ward of Mr. Baggins. And rumour has it that he's been out visiting foreign folk as well. I don't think there's any foreign folk coming to this party, mind you. although there's lots of people, and Gandalf will be there. I mean, you have to invite a girl wizard. You have to invite him. Nothing else, because you get free fireworks. We hobbits, we do like our fireworks. And you can't fault Mr. Gandalf's fireworks. They're ace. His other dodgy dealings are a bit funny, but there you go. I suppose that's something you just have to put up with wizards. Except that if you want their benefits like the fireworks, you just have to put up with it. Although, to my mind, I don't know how much it is to this magic lark. I think it's all smoke and mirrors, a lot of it. And as for them elves, they're a bit too much up themselves. I think they're superior. My Sam is obsessed with elves. He wants to go and see some elves. But there's plenty of things he needs to do right now, and he's not doing them. And as I said to him, it's the job it's the job that's never started that takes the longest. So get on with it, get it done. Oh, hit my finger on there then. Right, just going to finish my meatballs off, and it'll be time to cook them. And that little bugger better be home, otherwise his dinner's going cold. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to my pan, because we don't want these meatballs sticking. And I want to turn it on, not too hot. Stay on, you little bugger, because we obviously, being it's chicken, we want to make sure it's cooked all the way through. So we can brown them on the outside, but we want to make sure they're cooked. And he's still not back from that pub, from that inn, Green Dragon. Well, I hope he ain't gone further afoot, because it'd take him the ages to get home. He's got nailed up there, my son, sound-wise. I keep telling him, if he don't keep it and mind his own business, not get involved in foreign stuff, things are going to happen. Where's me? There it is. My slotted spoon. So now I'm just going to, not too many at a time, because we want to keep them separate. We want room for them to move. Don't think I'm going to get wheezing. How many did I make in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, I'm lucky for some in it. That's what they say anyway. Right, so I'm going to fit all these in here. So I better cook them all at the same time. So, I'm just going to keep tossing them around. And while we're doing that, I'll get rid of all this here. And I'll have to see what beer I've got left in the cellar, because I think I might have drunk that barrel of Golden Ale. I think there might be some porter down there. I do like me porter. Can't see now. If I lived in a different age, I could ring him. But you'll have no idea what that means. I could ring him and say, "Sam boys, get your ass back here and make sure you brought me some Golden Ale." But we ain't invented things like that, so I can't ring him. Oh, I discovered there was one last mug of that Golden Ale. Get a bit frothy near the end. Never mind that. All goes down the same way. Now, I'm starting to turn them over, and we just keep turning them so they're not pink inside. Don't want pink chicken. And then I've got 2 bowls here, and I've got some freshly picked rocket from the gardens. Okay, so we've got rocket. We'll put the cooked meatballs on there. We're going to sprinkle it with the remains of that cheese from the Feta dairy. We're going to sprinkle it with some of that, the chopped mint. And of course, we're going to have our chickpea. It's nice and crunchy. Apart from that one fits on. And that one was a bit in between. And that one's crunchy. Be a nice snack, that. Ooh, I can mark it, haven't I? Old Gaffers beer snacks. You know, there's the thing, isn't there? And then I've got a fancy fruit. You know, chickpeas can make you cough after a swig of beer. A fancy fruit called a lemon. I think the elves grow them up in that place called Ribbon Dish or something. I don't really know. Right, well, oh, and then I've got some fancy walnut oil from the walnut trees that we grow here in the Shire. And old Sandy Man down his mill, a little an aside job, he crushes up them walnuts on his mill when he's not grinding the old wheat and everything, and makes walnut oil. Although there's something not quite right about that Ted Sandy Man, I'll tell you. Samboys has turned up. He has had a few. Sent him to his room. He's babbling on about something to do with the party and Gandalf, and that he suspects there's something going on with Mr. Baggins. I said to him, "How was young Rosie?" But he's either being very cagey or he never said anything. He might have been just too busy drinking. But I know I found that for him, and I know that's quite precious to him. Although having said that, like I say, it's a bit foreign to him. Probably more precious to Mr. Bilbo, I think. Still waiting on my balls to cook through. Almost there. So, like I say, I can't really do much else because I want to put my balls on this rocket, and then we'll sprinkle the rest on top. And I told you about the walnut oil, didn't I? And then I discovered this dodgy, it said it was dark wheat beer. It don't look very dark to me. Just tastes like beer. Ale. So I think it's about time we served up, because like I say, he's back now. Now, I did break one up just to check it was okay. Okay, so we're going to put these meatballs on top of that salad. Hey, come here. And like I say, I did break one up earlier to make sure it weren't pink inside. So there you go, that's our chicken meatball with various herbs and spices, including foreign ones, and that cheese from the Feta dairy down the road. Ooh, that's nice. Taste of chicken, taste of cheese, and you're getting a bit of a heat there, like dragon's breath. Well, not that I've ever seen a dragon, but I've heard about it. Mr. Baggins, one of his adventures, he ended up disturbing a dragon. Ended up having to, well, he didn't, but they ended up having to kill it. That's lush. Let me get that out of the way. So, what we're going to do next is I'm going to take some of that feta that's left. We're going to sprinkle that over it. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to take half of that mint. And he's having some of that mint. And I'm having some of that mint. There's a little bit more for him. There's a little bit more for me. Let me wash my hands. And then we're going to sprinkle on some of them crunchy chickpeas. Might save some. Be a snack for if there's any beer left later. And then I'm just going to add some lemon juice. Now I'm being a bit crafty because he's got these funny seeds in here. If you're not careful, they'll end up coming out all over your meatballs, and you don't want that, do you? So if I do it through my fingers, it traps the seeds. And then the final thing I'm going to do, see, look, there's seeds in there. I'll try growing them. Can't just have the elves growing bloody lemons, can I? And the final thing we're going to do is take some of that old Sandyman's walnut oil. Pardon me, that's that beer talking, that is. And we're just going to do a little drizzle of walnut oil over the top. And there you go. There's the old Gaffer's chicken and feta meatballs with a rocket salad. I've always tried the meatballs, and that's the main bit. So I'm not going to taste it for you now. I'm going to go and get that lazy, what's the name of my son, sat at the table, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. And then I'll have to see what beer, if he has done, what beer he's brought me back. So, cheers, my little friends.